Hello, welcome. Thank you for clicking on this IGTV. It is my first ever IGTV video. That's not easy to say. I obviously have a home account, the Hygge House, which is based all around my home styling and renovating our farmhouse. I recently uploaded something that had just a snippet of a fertility talk in it, and I got quite a lot of response to that. And I thought that because right now we're going through a fertility battle, fertility journey, that this might be a nice thing to do. It might be a good thing for me, myself, just to talk about it, because I don't talk about it very often, and it might be something therapeutic, and it might be something that could help people, because I find a lot of fertility information online is American, and it's not so easy. It wasn't easy for me to find. So this is basically going to be a video on our journey with infertility, what's happened in the past, what we're going through right now, and where we are planning on going in the future, and what the next step is. This is our journey. We are the Tuppens, Gemma and Chris Tuppen. We had been trying to get pregnant for 3 years. We tried a little bit before we were married because we knew we wanted to be pregnant pretty much as soon as we were married. It was just the journey we wanted to go on. We got married in November 2018, and we got pregnant for the first time in March 2019. That was our first sort of experience, and we didn't even realize it would happen that quickly. We were actually quite surprised that we were trying before we got married. This pregnancy was going completely fine. I had symptoms. I had like morning sickness and fatigue and all of the normal good stuff that means everything's going fine. I think just before I hit the 12-week, around 10 weeks, I just felt things weren't right. I just felt that all my symptoms had disappeared, and I felt like I had a big bump for someone who wasn't even 12 weeks yet. I just felt things were off, and I then decided to get a private scan, which revealed there was no heartbeat, and that he could see quite a large sort of mass instead of what he would be expecting to see at 10 weeks. So they immediately got me into the early pregnancy ward in Aberdeen, and they did some tests, some blood work and some ultrasounds, and it basically all of my test results came back sort of suggesting that I was having a molar pregnancy. Now, a molar pregnancy, I still don't know. That's my cat, sorry. I still don't know all of the ins and outs of it. It's a very complicated sort of pregnancy. As far as I'm aware, it basically means that there is something wrong with the pregnancy, and your body is trying to make up for this by creating more cells to fix the problem. Doesn't really fix the problem though, it just kind of makes it go out of control, and you just have a large mass of cells and not a baby. So come May, so I found out we were pregnant in March, come May, we lost that pregnancy. It was getting to the point where I was actually having to go in for surgery. So we had planned a surgical removal because of the size of it, and just because of it not, it's just it's a dangerous thing to leave molar in there. It can cause lots of things like cancer and all of this sort of fun stuff. So we were in hospital. I was waiting for my anaesthetist. Not a word I can say. And he came in to tell me what was next, and in the next hour or so they were going to come and get me ready for surgery. I'd met my surgeon, everything was ready to go, and then about 20 minutes before I was about to go into surgery, I passed the pregnancy naturally, which is the weirdest feeling. I passed it naturally, and so I never had to go in for surgery, which for me was the best case scenario, because I'd never had surgery before, and I really did not want surgery. Like, my prayers were actually answered just before that. So a few hours after I had passed the pregnancy, I was sent home, and I had routine checkups with ultrasounds and blood work and just samples, urine samples, everything like that. I actually worked with the clinic in Dundee, which was a specialist on it, and they cleared me pretty soon afterwards. They said that you shouldn't get pregnant for at least a month or two afterwards, and we were not trying to do that. But we then found out come July that we were pregnant for the second time. Again, it was a very quick process. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was quite shocking. It was an exciting time. I think it helped me get over the loss a bit more, but I was so apprehensive. I basically had in my head that I was going to lose again. I know for me, I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me, after having one miscarriage, I've just had this mindset of, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. You're just so negative about it. Like in your mind is so negative because you've gone through this, and it was very raw at the time. It was very soon afterwards. I don't think I was ready for this second pregnancy, but I was just in my head. I was like, I'm going to lose. I remember telling my mum before the 3-month mark that I was pregnant, just because I was like, I'm pregnant, but I know I'm going to lose this baby. And she was like, don't be so negative, you'll be fine. I just knew it in my head. I told you I wasn't going to cry. Oh, I'm fine. But lo and behold, we went for an early scan because of the molar pregnancy we had prior. They just wanted to make sure it wasn't another one. And we found out we had a heartbeat at 7 weeks. I think it was 7 weeks, 7 or 8 weeks. So that was really reassuring. We'd had a heartbeat, we'd had a scan. I'll put up a picture of the scan now. But at the scan, she said, it looks good, you got a heartbeat, it does look a bit smaller than we would want for this stage. That did not leave my brain. Did not leave my brain once. My husband was like, oh, it's fine, it'll just be a small baby. I was a tiny baby, and I was like, in my head I was like, no, that's it. That's the nail I needed. I'm gonna lose this baby, 100%. It's not progressing properly. He's a very positive person. I think I've become a very negative person due to all this. But he then went away on he went a weekend away for something. I think it was something to do with motorbikes, can't remember. And then that weekend I started bleeding. That would have been September. So we found out we were pregnant in July. In September, I started getting symptoms of a miscarriage. And I did lose the baby on the 4th of September. And so I called the unit as soon as I got like bleeding and symptoms and a bit of cramping, and they said, can you come in on the 3rd of September? And I was like, yes, not a problem. I went in on the 3rd before work, and they did a scan. This bit is gonna make me go. I'm not gonna go. And they told me they did a scan, they did an internal and they did an external scan just to be doubly sure, but they could not find a heartbeat. The baby was still the same size as it was back in the 7-week scan, and we were possibly 10 weeks at this point. And then they told me that I'd lost the baby. But it was still, my body just doesn't like to get rid of these things. It was still in my body and it was not letting go. So they said, would you like to pass the baby naturally, or would you like to come in and we will start the process? And I said, let's start the process. And that was on the 4th of September, the day before my birthday. I think it being the day before my birthday, and I think it being such a positive process, being like, you know, having a heartbeat, having a scan and everything, I think that's why it was the hardest miscarriage I'd ever had. I only had 2, but this was the hardest one. So I lost the baby on the 4th of September. So that was my second miscarriage in the space of a year. I took some time off from trying for a baby after that. I just needed a bit of a break. Obviously, 2 miscarriages in 1 year is pretty fucking shit, to be perfectly honest. Excuse my language, it was shit. But even if we were trying, it wouldn't have really helped, because as soon as I had that second miscarriage, my cycles and ovulation just went completely crazy. My cycles started becoming longer and less frequent, to the point where I had a period every 60 days, which is not normal. After I'd have a period, I would test that after, test that month for ovulation, and I kept getting negative ovulation results. So after many negative pregnancy tests, negative results, negative ovulation, we decided that it was time to get some help. We got in touch with our GP and they scheduled an MMR jab and some blood tests, and they started us on our journey with the fertility clinic. So I got the results back from my blood tests, and basically it came back that my hormones were completely out of whack. I had a higher level of testosterone. Basically my hormones came back bad. They weren't what they should be, and it was concerning. That was my test results. Christopher had a semen analysis test and it came back all good. He was all fine. I knew that was going to be the case. So that's when polycystic ovaries was first mentioned. So polycystic ovarian syndrome. I'm not fully educated on this, but it basically, I believe it means that you have cysts on your ovaries which can stop you from ovulating. This explains my long cycles. This explains not ovulating. With PCOS, there is lots of lovely side effects, like you gain weight, you start growing facial hair, like dark hairs like on your lip or just around your chin. That's awful. It's the worst one. You get like bad acne. My acne over lockdown was unbelievable. With all of the coronavirus and the lockdowns, this thing has been pushed quite far back for me. So it's now October, and the ball is starting to roll slowly, but it's rolling. November 10th, I have, like I said, my finalizing tests. I need to go in there and tell them about my BMI being positive, and then basically we're going to start hormone treatment. I'm not exactly sure what hormone treatment is going to look like, if it's going to be a pill, if it's going to be an injection. There's this word Clomid being thrown around. I'm not too sure if I'm going to be on Clomid or not. I have heard quite a lot of negative side effects of Clomid, like depression and anxiety, which I really do not want, obviously. So hormone treatment is the first step. They want us to try to get pregnant naturally. So basically, because we've done it in the past, it shouldn't be, with the hormone treatment, it shouldn't be too difficult to get pregnant again. So the next step is hormone treatment, trying to get pregnant naturally, so basically have sex when you're ovulating and test your ovulation. And they said, I think about 2 cycles of that. So that could bring us up to the end of this year, maybe the beginning of next year. And then come maybe January, February 2021, she said the next step would just be straight to IVF. It's exciting. It's terrifying. I will commend you if you've made it to the end of this video. I want to end this by saying, if you want to follow this journey with us, I would love that. If you've got any questions yourself, if you've already gone through this journey and you want to give me some advice, or if you are at the very beginning of your journey and you want some advice from someone who's in the middle of it or at the starting sort of position of their journey, then I'm always open for people to come talk to me, always, like completely. I found it really difficult not having a lot of people to talk to about this and not having immediate friends going through it. I found it quite isolating, quite lonely. So if you're in that same position, I'm always available for you to speak to or ask any questions. By the time I've uploaded this, I will have had my November appointment. I will go back to posting my home stuff now. Don't worry, my home stuff's not going anywhere. This is just a very important and big part of my life. I would love to keep this as a document, and I would also if you're interested in my home, you might be interested in myself and my life. So this is just a bit of my private life. And hopefully one day on here I can do nursery decor, and that would literally be the dream. I love nursery stuff. So hopefully one day I'll be posting my own nursery pictures.